Hey guys, I'm recording this. I'm back in London after my little trip to see my family, and it's super hot. We're having a heat wave in London, so the flat's really hot. I've got my fan on because otherwise I will dissolve, and I'm afraid there's some roadworks outside as well because Thames Water are drilling things. So hopefully you can't hear too much ambient noise, but I'll just get on with it. So let's have a look. Let's start with, I mean, to say a cheapie is almost, I mean, this is so ridiculously cheap, this perfume. This is Adidas Get Ready. And this one is a watermelon perfume. And it's quite straightforward, I'd say. It does have maybe a tiny bit of what people would call a shampooy quality, but personally I think this smells more like a body wash, so I don't think it's got quite such a kind of sharp and screechy detergenty smell that you get when something smells super shampooy. This Get Ready is a kind of Jolly Rancher style watermelon, and it's also got some lotus in it, so it does have an aquatic feel, but it's mainly fruity. And I think when you first spray this one out, you get that watermelon candy scent. And then it gets a little bit more of the kind of soapy feel. But in the deep dry down, it's quite a gentle, fruity floral. So the notes listed for this one, and it's got a sugary quality, but it's still light. It's like, again, like it's by Adidas, right? It's a bit sporty. So this is watermelon, grenadine, and orange in the top. Middle notes of sugarcane and lotus. Base notes musk, cedar, and amber. It's not super cedary, not super ambery, but it's actually super pretty, and I really enjoyed wearing this one. It was really fun. I was wearing this one because, and again, like it's amazing. Sarah May's just managed to beat me to it with the old Tocca Discovery set because I also have that one, but I haven't recorded it yet. But I really like Simone from there, and I wanted to try and find you guys an affordable alternative. And I think this might be quite a good one. It definitely doesn't smell as natural, it's a bit sweeter, but this is also the thing that I recommend instead of L'Imperatrice from what they called from Dolce & Gabbana, because I really don't like that perfume. I think, I don't, again, it's one that probably has some aroma chemicals in it that makes it like super shampooey and screechy to me, like so eye-wateringly sharp, even though there's a sweetness in it. And I know some people also think that it smells a bit like garbage, and like, you know, melon so often has that weird garbagey smell. So this is the one that I think is a really good alternative to both of those light kind of fruity floral watermelon scents. And I mean, I reckon this cost me about £4. Like, it's one that I'm always considering when people ask me what my cheapest perfume is, because this kind of standalone is my cheapest perfume. I normally go for Katy Perry's Indie just because the 30 ml bottle that I have of that one, I got three for £6 or something insane. So they work out to be slightly cheaper than this one, but this one is such a bargain. I mean, I'd say I get about 5 hours where I can really smell this one. It lasts longer on clothes, but I could really smell this on my skin. That kind of the sort of slightly fruity floral musky smell you get in the deep dry down hangs around for ages. I think it's really cute, but it's so cheap. You can just respray it so much. I mean, what an absolute beaut. So you can tell it's getting warmer because I'm breaking out some of the proper summery scents. Here is another one that I really only wear in warm weather because I only really like it in warm weather. I don't think it blossoms in quite the same way, and it smells much more shampooey in cold weather. Oh, but you see now in warm weather, that is one hell of an addictive scent. Do you know, it's reminding me of something from the Body Shop, and it's probably reminding me a tiny bit of a sweeter and more fruity dewberry from the Body Shop. So this is The Key from Justin Bieber, and very sadly this one is discontinued, really hard to find. If I can ever find anything that smells like this one, I will obviously let you know, but so far there's loads of perfumes that have a crossover in like a general profile, but I've never smelled anything that smells quite like this one, which is why I like this one so much, because there's something very, it's like a really classic celebrity scent, but there's something very unusual going on in it at the same time, which is, I imagine, the bosenberry here and a very beautiful pear. So in the top note you've got bosenberry, pear, mandarin orange and osmanthus, and I definitely get the osmanthus, I can definitely smell pear, and I get a lot of that rather unusual bosenberry smell, which I think is what's reminding me of dewberry a little bit. So then the middle notes are peach, water lily and pink jasmine. I don't find this super jasmine-y. Don't find it. I think the water lily and jasmine is what comes out more in cold weather, and that's why it goes more shampoo-y. Whereas I get more of that kind of peachy, soft osmanthus-y floral in the warm weather. And the peach is not too syrupy. And then you see, and this is probably another place where the magic's coming in, base notes are musk, and it's a good musk, vanilla, and it's a good vanilla, and only not too much of it, so it's not too sickly. But then there's also raspberry in the base and woody notes, and I think that raspberry in the base just keeps this constantly smelling so yummy. I love this perfume. I think it's interesting that this one doesn't exist anymore, because I think some people compare this to like some of the early Ariana Grandes. And again, I can see it. I can see that kind of, there's a little bit of vanilla, there's a little bit of musk, there's a little bit of fruit, and there's a little bit of floral, you know. There's a bit of that berry smell. But this is so unusual at the same time. Yeah, if there's any dupe houses that do a good dupe of The Key by Justin Bieber, then I would genuinely say it's probably worth trying it, because if it does really smell like this, I think this perfume's so beautiful and I absolutely loved wearing it. I love wearing it generally, it's just really nice. Just move all these along. Oh, I don't need a huge amount of room for this bad boy. I've just been wearing this lots, and I took a little mini down to my mum and dad's as well. But I'm not, this is late, but I'm not going to talk about the weekend just gone, because I'll do that for my next video. So I won't tell you about what I was wearing in Wiltshire, but I've been wearing this all week because I just love it. So this is the Yardley Lavender. This is the Contemporary English Lavender. That's what this one's called. And it's just scrumptious. I just think it smells like lavender tea, lavender chamomile tea. But it's also... how to describe it? I'm trying to think what I got a bit more of. I feel like I maybe got a bit more, now it's hotter, I maybe got a little bit more of the kind of sage and geranium and eucalyptus a little bit. And also the vanilla was coming through a little bit more in this kind of warmer weather. But I've been wearing this one to bed because it really helps me go to sleep. It's so calming. Let me just think. What am I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Okay, let's just do the notes. So top notes, clary, sage and bergamot. Middle notes, lavender, violet, chamomile, eucalyptus, geranium and jasmine. Base notes, woodsy notes, patchouli and vanilla. I don't really get lots of patchouli. I don't sense much in the way of violet from this, and I'm not sure. I mean, geranium, jasmine, maybe together. But for me, it's mainly like lavender, chamomile, eucalyptus, sage, a little bit of vanilla. There's definitely a bit of bergamot in here as well, but very calming, just super zen. I really like this perfume. I wear it to bed a lot, and occasionally, recently I was wearing it during the day when I wasn't feeling very well. So I just think it's a really good one. I also tried this one. I reckon I've had this for possibly a year now, and I've had some other Rives for maybe 2 years now, and every now and again I'll just get another one just to kind of add to the collection, so I can do a massive Rive video, because I've got loads of the ones that are duping really famous perfumes, and I've not only bought perfumes that I quite like to see what they're like, I've also bought perfumes that I don't like because I just want to be able to review them for you guys. But yeah, so I've just been making like a big list basically of all the stuff, and I think Jess mentioned it in my comments. And I thought, right, I'm going to give this one another go, because when I got it, and to be honest, I feel the same way, because this is My Way. This is a dupe of My Way. Let's have a look. I'll spray this out on the paper. I think it's quite a smart bottle, this. Quite simple and easygoing. Her Choice by Rive. Trying to see what the light's like, because it's kind of gone a bit darker outside, but it's still very hot. So Her Choice from Rive is a dupe of My Way. Now, is that an Armani perfume? My brain is not working today, clearly. Let's have a look. Yes, it's Giorgio Armani My Way, which to me is a tuberose perfume with like orange blossom and jasmine, but it's so sweet. It's like incredibly sweet to me. I feel like My Way is like the youthful, playful version of something like Lontedy. I think they've got quite similar profiles, but Lontedy smells a bit more grown up and a bit more sensual. This smells a little bit more girly and playful. And this one, it smells so much like it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as strong, but it is still quite strong. So I actually wore it and it's too much for me. It's too sweet. I thought it might be, but I wanted to give it a go. Weirdly, this one, her choice, they don't list tuberose in the notes here, which is obviously mad because this is definitely absolutely a dupe for My Way, and it's absolutely orange blossom, tuberose and a bit of jasmine. So they only list orange blossom and bergamot in the top, Indian jasmine in the mid, and then white musk, vanilla and cedar in the base. But this is, add in a massive dose of tuberose into that, and then you know what this smells like. I've smelled so many perfumes that smell like this that I think a few years ago I'd had no idea that they were all that kind of Lontedy and My Way profile. This one is just too... I sometimes can struggle with very sweet floral perfumes. Because, I mean, this does have a fruitiness to it from the bergamot and almost smells like there could be pear in there as well. But it's very flowery, it's bubblegummy, it's very sweet. And slightly soapy, and it to be honest, it was just too much for me. I think it's a pretty perfume. I'd really like it on other people, I'm absolutely sure of that, but on me, I'm not mad for it, if you see what I mean. Okay, so then let's look at, yeah, I mean, this is super cheap though, so obviously if you like My Way, I really recommend this because you can get it for under a tenner. And I think, is this a 100ml bottle? They sometimes do 90 mils. No, it's 100 mils, so it's a big one. So then we have another one that I only wear in warm weather because this one is not as sweet, more floral, a little bit more. I mean, I think it would be fair to say it can be a bit screechy in cold weather, this one, because it's very white floral. But here we go. See, again, like this one, less shampooy, more blossomy, sweeter. In really warm weather. So this is Kim Kardashian Pure Honey. I love this bottle. It's one of my favourite bottles in my collection. It's so pretty. I absolutely love weird shaped glass. Anything that looks like kind of crystals, that kind of thing. So this is one definitely a little bit shampooy in cold weather. And I think although it's called Pure Honey and there is definitely a noticeable honey in it, it's very floral, this perfume. So this is a very sweet floral. But again, I can kind of get down with that when it's honey rather than vanilla. You know, when it's that kind of sweetness, I'm really into it. It's not really sugary. It's almost slightly creamy, is what I'd say in the hot weather. Oh, I loved wearing this. And I know Sarah Mays talks about this one quite a lot and she says it lasts for ages on her. So this must be a skin thing because this one doesn't really last that long on me. And I do find myself having to respray it. Of course, it's possible I go anosmic. It only cost me about £15 for this huge bottle. So, I mean, I don't really mind. The notes here are freesia, mandarin blossom and red rose in the top. The mid notes are beeswax, honeysuckle and orchid in the mid. Base notes are coconut, vanilla and musk. I don't think this smells coconutty. I don't even get the texture of coconut. But what I get when it dries down is there's something about the combination. I would say maybe it's like coconut cream or coconut milk or something. Because I get a kind of creamy honey caramel smell when this dries down on my skin. So I think there's something about the beeswax having that kind of waxy texture and then the coconut having a creamy texture. And then you've got the sugariness of the honey but the kind of sweet creaminess from the vanilla that just kind of gives me a honey caramel kind of scent. Like just an ever so slightly light, not burnt caramelly smell, but very honeyed. I just think it's so pretty. For me, I get a lot of honeysuckle. This is a really pretty honeysuckle perfume on me. I don't get lots of rose. I think the mandarin blossom comes across more like an actual mandarin note or like an orange note, like a fruity note. I do think there's probably a noticeable orchid in here Because the more perfumes I get that have orchid, particularly vanilla orchid, it seems to be quite a specific smell that again gives it an almost kind of slightly soapy, almost like lotiony scent, but there's only a hint. And I mean, I love freesia, so yeah, I can see again. I often get, when it's freesia and musk, I often get a lovely kind of bar soapy creaminess. But yeah, I think just some of the flowers here could make this a bit screechy for some people. But oh my goodness, in hot weather, I love it. And I have seen this a few places recently, so it's been popping up all over the place on the grey market. Still super cheap, despite the fact that it's hard to get. Oh, yeah, love it. I think it's discontinued, which is a real shame. I do think the two perfumes that were in these bottles, I think, are the nicest ones. Um, if you see what I mean, like I think they're the kind of out of. I mean, I never got to smell any of Kim Kardashian's perfumes that were like her naked body or the big lips or any of that. So the more expensive ones that she did. But I have Fleur Fatale, and that is a really good rose and peony perfume if you want something simple but not screechy, not too old-fashioned, just super simple kind of rose perfume. And the actual Kim Kardashian ones that were in the round bottles, I didn't like any of those at all. Although the tuberose one, the original one, really does smell like some very expensive gardenia and tuberose perfume. So again, good if you like that kind of thing. But this one and the what's it called, True Reflection, I think both smell way more expensive than they are. Like, I think they both smell really classy, really interesting. True Reflection is like a very gentle and sultry, sexy, light fruit chewy, but it has a chocolate orchid in it, so it has a chocolatey feel to it. It's like plum, patchouli, and a chocolate orchid. So like they're both quite interesting perfumes. They smell a bit more niche and maybe not quite as mass appealing, a bit more interesting. But they're both, to me, quite easy to wear. Well, I mean, I don't wear fruit chewies personally, but if I was going to wear one, that is the one I'd go for. But yeah, the two that are in these beautiful bottles, I think were really excellent perfumes. Real shame that they don't make them anymore. All right. Okay. Squeaky. This guy. I've been trying to work out what this smells like, and it's been driving me ever so slightly insane. This is Guess Seductive Blue, and I've seen on Fragrantica that the top thing this is voted as smelling like is... So the top votes on Fragrantica for this one are that it smells like Ocean de Joya, and I just couldn't disagree more. I just don't think... I have a little sample of that perfume, and I don't think this smells anything like it. I know it's got pear in it, but this one, it doesn't have any kind of like super sharp shampoo-y feel. It's not as watery and fresh. It's not as crisp. It's more like a fruity tropical cocktail, I think. I mean, I think if I smelt Ocean de Joya and it smelt a bit more like this one, I'd probably like it more than I do. But I think Ocean de Joya just is one of the harshest shampoo perfumes I've ever smelt, and I think it smells so cheap. This one also doesn't smell particularly expensive. It smells like one of those Escada fruity perfumes, but it doesn't veer too far into the shampoo-y thing. It just smells quite fresh, and I think that's also because there's some patchouli in the base that slightly changes how this one feels to wear, and not in a way that I'd be like, oh, you know, patchouli's like really harsh or whatever, or, you know, I don't really like patchouli most of the time, but I think it just gives it a more earthy dry down, a more earthy base that stops it from going into full Escada limited edition shampoo style perfumes. Yeah, I mean, this one's kind of... It's quite nice, but it's nothing special, and it's not very seductive, is what I'd say. It just smells like a fruity, like fun, freshy, almost more of a body spray kind of smell, but it's a bit stronger. So this one's pear and bergamot in the top, peony, freesia, rosewater and cyclamen in the mid. Base notes plum, musk, amber and patchouli. So having that plum in the base and the pear in the top is really, really pretty. And it is a really pretty scent. I would say it doesn't smell, it smells very youthful, this one to me. But it definitely smells like something else. And I'm like, what is this? It might just be the pear note. It might literally be that there's pear and rose water in this that's slightly reminding me of something like God Is a Woman, but it's this one's fresher, you know. But it's in that. I mean, if Ariana Grande released this as like a summer perfume, I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, because it's got a bit of sweetness, definitely. It's nowhere near as sharp as some freshies, and I think if you can get it for a steal, then I think it would be. It smells like this kind of perfume you'd take on holiday, if that makes sense. It smells like the sort of thing that you'd be like, oh yeah, this is one's going to be really nice for holiday. I just think it's a pretty perfume. So yeah, I do like it. I'm just thinking that the one of the big ones that I've got, I might actually put up there. So I might move these in. I might get them all close to each other for a bit of a Yardley experience. There we go. That's not going to fall off, is it? Okay. So yeah, that's a really good bargain as perfume. I think it's very pretty. And then I wore this twice this week because I love it so much that I wore it, and then I wanted to wear it again the next day and I didn't. And then I thought to myself, I'll wear this on the Friday when I go down to see my family. There is just something so utterly magical about Mediterranean from Elizabeth Arden. I love this perfume. I think it's absolutely lush. Let me just make sure that that's all looking good. I was thinking about this one quite a lot actually, because I don't think I wouldn't be able to wear this week when it's this hot. Last week when it was getting hot, but it was maybe like 22, 23 degrees max. Now that it's this hot, this is very sweet and smells even more powdery to me. So I was thinking about this because I've had a little bit of a problem with like what people describe as like freshies that are really quite sweet but have a very, very powdery quality to them. And I think this is one of them. It's that kind of smell, and I'll give you an example. So Laguna, for instance, from Salvador Dali, there's something about the texture of that perfume that makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. I get the same thing with Cool Water, weirdly. I find it like powdery but intensely sugary and sweet. This is almost veering into that kind of texture, but for some reason this one works for me, whereas lots of others don't. And I got it, so like Gypsy Water, for instance, by Byredo. And I think it's when there's a noticeable vanilla, I start to find it very sickly. And I don't get a noticeable vanilla here, even though it's sweet. And I get the powderiness from like those lovely florals, and then it cuts through with like juicy fruits, but it's not vanillic. And I'm wondering whether that's the thing that bothers me, like a really powdery vanilla that's also slightly aquatic and watery makes me feel a bit strange maybe. So I think other people that find this strange, that might be why. It might be because it is aquatic and powdery and sweet. So it's got quite a few weird things all mixed up in one that I just think works really well in this perfume and I find beautiful, but I feel like maybe other people won't. I also love this bottle with a burning passion. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, so I'll read you the notes from the actual Elizabeth Arden website because I think they are a really good description. We've got Sicilian orange and peach nectar. Oh, peach nectar sorbet. I always get that wrong because I'm reading it and like that goes down to the next line. So it's Sicilian orange, peach nectar sorbet, damask plum in the top. The mid is star magnolia, radiant wisteria and Madagascar orchid. And then the base is addictive sandalwood, fluid skin musk and golden amber whisper. The amber also gives this a powderiness, definitely. But again, because it doesn't have vanilla, I feel like I'm just loving it and it's not bothering me that it's a bit powdery. But I do think if I wore it in this weather now, when it's like 26, 27 degrees just in my flat, I do not think that I would be comfortable in this. I think it would be too sweet, but I love it. And it definitely has a slight sea breeze note in there. It's so pretty. It's really affordable. I was so my husband's walking around in the room next to me, so my thing started jiggling around. I was like really genuinely thinking about whether I should get a backup bottle of this just in case they've reformulated it in any way recently. I love it so much. It's so delicious. What was I going to say? I meant to tell you guys something ages ago about Elizabeth Arden, and that Untold and Untold Absolute have both come back at Elizabeth Arden, and you can buy both of those again. But they're not in the same bottles as they used to be in. They're just in really plain upright bottles, but it means they've kept the prices quite low. So you can get those again. And the other thing you can get again is L'Occitane's Terre de Lumière, the original one with the honey and the lavender. Again, in a very plain bottle nowadays, but the actual perfumes come back. And, while I remember, Philosophy UK, you can now get fresh cream. You never used to be able to get the fresh cream perfumes from the website, in like the UK website, but you can now. Sorry, there's just a few things that popped up into my brain. All right, so I've got one left, and it's an absolute monster of a bottle. Let's see if my hands are feeling strong. So let's start. This is the box because, like I said, I got a Tocca Discovery set ages ago. I've had a little 15ml bottle of Stella for ages. Absolutely love that perfume. It's like blood orange and white florals, really pretty. And I've wanted a bottle of Tocca forever, right? So when I first came down to work in London, I really wanted a Penhaligon's and I really wanted a Tocca because I really love those bottles. Now, I've never managed to get a Penhaligon's. They're very expensive now, and they stopped making most of the perfumes that I liked back in, like, I don't know, 2006 and 7, around about that time. Whereas Tocca, they still have a lot of things that I'd already thought were quite nice, and they've got some new ones. This is the newest one, and I smelt this in my Discovery set, and I immediately went and looked online. It's like £100 and something for 100ml of this on, like, if you buy it new, so quite an expensive one. But someone was selling it on eBay, and I sent an offer through and they accepted it. So I got it 100ml bottle for £40, and I am in love. So this is the box. This is the box for Tocca Lucia. Really lovely, pretty simple box, you know, classic. What does this say on the back? Lucia is a luminous, fresh, floral fragrance that gives voice to your inner beauty. Oh, for God's sake. Inspired by Italian art of slow living, Lucia weaves a soulful tapestry of sunlit Italian lemons, lush fig and woody vetiver, radiant indulgence that encourages you to live for the moment. Okay, fine. Look, it's so heavy. It's an absolute bowling ball of a perfume bottle. I love these bottles. Funnily enough, I mean, I'll talk about them when I actually do the video, but I'd actually won a partially used 50ml bottle of Giulietta because I was the only person who bid on it. I got it for £9.99. So I have a few full bottles now, or at least, you know, proper bottles. This is Lucia. This is my new favourite fig perfume. Like, it's got green liquid and it is quite a green scent, but it's got a softness to this that is so lovely. Now, if like me, you like lighter, less aggressive perfumes, then, you know, Tocca obviously is going to be a house that you're going to like, because they are very gentle, pretty, normally quite feminine perfumes. This one's leaning towards unisex, but I think of the profile that I'm about to tell you, this smells a bit like. This is probably the most feminine version I've smelt, especially in the dry down. You see how green that is? Look how cool it is. Oh my God. So this, weirdly, has a scent profile that dries down to smell very much like Moonlight in Heaven by Killian. Now, obviously, that's an extremely expensive perfume. So if you're looking at that kind of profile, Moonlight in Heaven is the expensive version. Very pretty again, but there's something in Killian perfumes that I don't seem to get on too well with. And again, probably some kind of aroma chemical. This one doesn't smell like there are any chemicals in it to me. I think it's beautiful. And the notes here are C notes, lemon, mandarin orange, grapefruit, middle notes of fig tree, geranium and rosewater, base notes of fig tree, tobacco, cedarwood and vetiver. Oh, this is so pretty. So there's something about the sweetness of the, almost like a, not a dry tobacco smell so much, although this is relatively dry because of the C notes and the citrus, but in the dry down you just get this very gentle sweet tobacco scent. Um, Definitely with fig leaves and fig trees and figs. You get some lemon, you get some grapefruit, you get the C notes, you've got a dry geranium in there and a dry rose. But there's a slight sweet creaminess in the dry down. It doesn't list any kind of musk, so I think it's coming from the tobacco and the vetiver. But it's got a sweetness to it that stops this going off the boil and into like anything too masculine. Oh God, I love this bottle so much. I love these bottles. So, Lucia is absolutely gorgeous, and if you can find this for a decent price, and you love a fig perfume, and you like light perfumes, this is heavenly. I loved wearing this. This one actually is. I have to say, this is maybe slightly stronger than some of the other Toccas, and I think maybe it lasts a little bit longer than some of them as well. Certainly lasts longer than Simone. But I also think so. So I've got kind of three levels here. So obviously you've got like the Killian, Moonlight and Heaven, very expensive. You've got this one, quite expensive. Like to us who think £100 is expensive, then this is a little bit over £100. Obviously you can get a 50 ml, and then that's under £100. But if you can get it on a good deal, then so for instance, at the moment, I got Simone from Look Incredible, which I put up on my, I put a link to Look Incredible up on my community tab, because they have a 50% sale, and there's quite a lot of Toccas in there. So instead of like 85 quid for a 50 ml bottle of Simone, it cost me like it cost me like 40 something for that, and I got free delivery, and that's the UK obviously, because if you spend over 35, I think with Look Incredible, you get free delivery. So, and it was free next day, I think, so it turned up so quickly. But yeah, so this one is also like, this is kind of the middle in terms of price range, because the other thing you could go for that also has that slight Moonlight in Heaven vibe, but is sort of a bit more unisex, is the Tuttotondo Fico de India. Now I really like that one, but because it went up to 35 for the 100 ml, and then I'd have to pay like 16 or 18 pounds to get it sent to the UK. So it actually worked out cheaper to get this one, which I like even more because it's very similar but a bit more feminine. Um, yeah, so I mean, it worked out to be cheaper to get Tocca than it was for me in the UK to get that one. But I do really love that one still. And the difference there is that obviously those two have a mango note, which, yeah, if you like it because it's mango, then fair enough, then go for one of those. But if you like just the general profile, this is my favourite version of it. I've fallen completely in love. I wore it to work. I took like, I mean, it's a little bit dented because I put some into a little sprayer so I could take it to work. Because I'm not going to take this massive bottle, am I? It weighs a ton. But it was so pretty. I loved wearing it. It's really beautiful. It is also quite unisex, don't get me wrong. But I think the Fico de India is a little bit pushing more into the unisex side, because I think there's more of a like a bitterness in there that you don't get so much of in this one. I think this one's really smooth. But anyway, I mean, I wore a perfume that's normally like £115, but I also wore one that was four. So I feel like averaging out, it's still, some real bargains here. This one, I mean, this is really beautiful. I really like Tocca, and because I love bottles as well, I'm so happy to have some Tocca bottles because I wanted them for my display. So they're kind of just beautiful works of art as well. But yeah, I mean, oh my God, love, 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 like, okay, not for me. Not a bad week, I'd say. I think that's been a really fun week. I've actually got some time off at the moment, so I'm going to try and catch up on some of my vids. I'm trying to think what I've got on my list, but I've got so many things I need to talk about. I've got so many perfumes sitting around my room that I need to review and make videos of, so I'm going to try and get on that this week. So again, yeah, this was late because I've been away for the weekend, but I'm back in London now, here just in time for a heat wave that's going to absolutely boil me. Tell me what you guys have been wearing. Tell me if any of you have smelt any of these or if you have any of them. And I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. And if you're not already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It really helps me out. All right, bye guys.